I want to welcome you, and I also want to take this opportunity to thank the great team of the Early Childhood Center of Professional Development for all the work they put into organizing this day that I believe will be informative and energizing for all of us. We did receive many questions from you, and I thought it was a good approach for you to send in questions ahead of time. So we are trying to answer those through the course of the day in the presentations. But as Brian said earlier, I encourage you to write your questions on the cards that are at the tables, and we will put a Q&A on the Administrator Forum website after the forum. I want to start by asking the ISBE Early Childhood Division team to stand up. They seem to be primarily in a row here. I know that for many of you, don't sit down yet. I know that for many of you, you have talked to them on the phone or you have gotten emails from them, but you actually have never seen them. So I'm going to introduce them. There's Phyllis Bliven, Sharonda Brown, Donna Emmons, Jennifer Loftus, Karen McCarthy, Jenny Metcalf, Pam Rising-Reckner, and Penny Smith. And there are also 3 of our team that are back in Springfield and are holding down the fort there. It's Alicia Lynch Dethridge, Janice Hibbert, and Molly Polly. Thank you. In talking about all of the initiatives that Raina and Teresa mentioned, the different grants and the activities, the one thing that helps me stay focused is to really think about what are the themes and keeping my eye on the ball. And the 3 themes that I think cut across all of the things that we've been talking about are high quality early childhood education, children who are most at risk, and birth to 3rd grade alignment. When Teresa was talking about the independent systems, it really is the early care and education block from birth through 5. And there's a lot of work in that space to coordinate activities and increase quality across all of our programs, which I call the horizontal alignment. A lot of what Raina was talking about is related to vertical alignment. Really making sure that once we get our children safe, healthy, ready to succeed, and eager to learn when they enter kindergarten, that those systems continue and there is a smooth transition so that all of our children graduate from high school, college, and career ready. So a lot of the efforts that we are working on are both about the horizontal alignment and the vertical alignment. And I think the Preschool for All programs are uniquely sort of positioned between those 2 systems and can have an impact on that. So why high quality early childhood education? I know that I am speaking to the choir about this, but I think it's important for us to talk about it one more time. There are numerous well-known studies, such as the High Scope Perry Preschool Study, the Carolina Abecedarian Study, the Chicago Longitudinal Study of the Child Parent Center program, as well as hundreds of lesser-known studies that have all found strong, short, and long-term effects from participation in high-quality preschool programs. The long-term effects found in these studies include gains on cognitive tests, improvement in social and emotional development, and improvements to school success, including less grade repetition, less special education placement, and increased high school graduation. And these impacts are found to be lifelong, increasing participants' earnings, rates of home ownership, and reducing the need for public assistance. But the benefits are dependent on high-quality preschool programs. So why focus on children who are most at risk? Research demonstrates that the achievement gap can be identified long before children enter kindergarten. Disparities in children's learning are evident as early as 9 months of age and persist as children continue through school. The achievement gap can also be linked to socioeconomic factors. One national study documented that before kindergarten entry, the average cognitive scores for affluent children were 60% higher than for those of children who were in low-income families. Professor Heckman's work shows that early childhood development directly influences economic, health, and social outcomes for individuals and society. The basic skills needed for success are formed before children enter school. Investing early helps to prevent the achievement gap, and investing in our children with the most disadvantages provides the greatest return. So why align birth to third grade? This is one of those slides that Raina and I share.
Technically, I stole it.
For the most part, and I think this has been said by both Raina and Teresa, we have an early childhood education system, and even within our early childhood education system, there's birth to 3, there's 3 to 5, there's childcare, there's Head Start, there's preschool for all. We then have kindergarten, and we have the early elementary grades. And what we want to do is build quality across those systems and have a coordinated approach so that our children and our families have a smooth transition and are able to reach the goals that we want them to reach. So what is high-quality preschool program? It includes comprehensive developmental screening, a licensed teacher with an early childhood education endorsement, or other additional endorsements as required depending on the children that are enrolled. So there may need to be a special education endorsement or a bilingual ESL endorsement. Standards-based lesson planning using a comprehensive, research-based, developmentally appropriate curriculum, an ongoing authentic assessment system that gathers formative assessment data and uses it to plan for individuals and groups with individual portfolios being used to document children's progress. Positive adult-child interactions with rich language use. And we know more and more the importance of instruction. Intentional teaching, strong emphasis on family involvement and education, community collaboration, reflective practice, and instructional leaders that create the organizational conditions, structures, and supports for teachers to focus on instruction. So what are some of the tools and strategies that ensure high quality? One of them is standards. The Illinois Early Learning and Development Standards for children from 3 to 5 years old assist with ensuring high quality across the early care and education system. They provide a cohesive analysis of children's development with common expectations and common language for all early childhood professionals. They assist us with the horizontal alignment across early care and education. They're aligned with the Head Start, Early Child Development, and Early Learning Framework and are used in child care centers. They're also valuable in assisting us with vertical alignment. They are aligned with the kindergarten learning standards, including Common Core state standards, to establish that progression of learning across the ages. And they are aligned with the new Illinois Early Learning Guidelines for birth to 3. And I would suggest that if programs have not looked at these early learning guidelines, that they can be a valuable resource for your program, especially in terms of your younger 3-year-olds. And the Illinois Early Learning Project, which they have a table out in the resource area, they have numerous resources to support the use of standards and the use of the guidelines. They have tip sheets, FAQs, they have benchmark videos, they have parenting videos, and they have a new set of videos that are related to the early learning guidelines. So I would encourage you to check out that resource if you haven't. I wanted to put in this slide because I think it is a really good example of how we have increased our understanding of what our young learners are really capable of doing. They are capable of so much more than pasting heart shapes on a cutout form. They can understand how a heart works, and they are eager to learn how it works. It's hard to see the writing on the heart, but it says heart, 3 blue, 3 red, right here in your chest, as big as our fist. It is supposed to beat. You're dead if it stops beating. Red one goes out, blue one comes in. I think this is just a stark contrast in terms of really understanding how much our children can learn. What accountability measures and supports do we have available for preschool programs to support the continuous quality improvement? Of course, there's the PFA program monitoring, which I know many programs, when they receive their letter saying you are going to be monitored this year, are thinking this is not a good thing. But I think it is a step in terms of the continuous quality improvement process, and it gives you the kind of feedback so you know where to focus and how to look at what changes need to be made, because it is really about continuous quality improvement. There's the continuous quality improvement plan, and there's professional development and coaching. As you know, the program monitoring is on a 3-year cycle. Monitoring includes an on-site visit by a National Louis University assessor using both the Preschool for All compliance checklist and the Early Childhood Environmental Rating Scale, ECHRS. There's one compliance report for the program and an ECHRS report for each classroom that is observed. After the visit, monitoring and ECHRS reports are sent to the programs with information about how to prepare a continuous quality improvement plan. There are 2 parts to the continuous quality improvement plan. There's the compliance plan, and there is an ECHRS plan. I want to encourage all of you, when you receive your reports, to include your teachers, include your staff, give them feedback on what the reports say, and have them assist you in developing the action steps, the resources, and the timelines for the continuous quality improvement plan. There is one of the ISBE Early Childhood Division team who is assigned to each of your programs, and they are there to assist you. They review your reports and also then review your continuous quality improvement plan and provide additional assistance in helping you think through what are the priorities and where to get the assistance that you need. On the ISBE Preschool for All website, there is a section called Accountability. It has the compliance checklist there. There will be a webinar that was just recently recorded that will walk you through the continuous quality improvement process. It has information on ECHRS and the templates for the continuous quality improvement plan. And it also has a link to training and technical assistance resources. And these resources are organized into compliance and then resources for each of the subscales of the ECHRs. There are links to websites, PD provider calendars, articles, videos, online modules, lesson plan templates, and other resources. It's a very valuable resource. As I said before, the monitoring and the CQIP are really about continuous quality improvement. So in this process, it really is a time to pull together your team and ask those important questions. Are you using a comprehensive, research-based, developmentally appropriate curriculum with fidelity? Are you using an aligned, authentic assessment system that documents children's growth over time? Are your curriculum and assessment aligned with the Illinois Early Learning and Development Standards? And has your staff been sufficiently trained on all of these? There's numerous professional development opportunities. As I mentioned before, the Early Childhood Center of Professional Development at the center, Resources for Teaching and Learning, pulled together this administrator forum. They also provide statewide training, webinars, conferences, a lending library. They have the coaching project, and we have most, if not all, of our coaches here at the meeting today. And they also are working with the Illinois Principals Association and have put together administrators academies. And if you look at the back of your program, there's a listing of the administrators academies. I would also encourage you to pick up a catalog or go online to see what kinds of professional development opportunities there are. There are also 6 StarNet regions throughout the state, and they also have a table out there, and I would suggest you talk to them and get information about the resources they provide. So this is one of the slides that I share with Teresa. And she actually talked a great deal about Accelerate, so we will go through this very quickly. But I think you know that there is licensing, and then there are 3 circles of quality: bronze, silver, and gold, and then the awards of excellence in 5 different areas. Teresa talked about the single set of standards and how Accelerate is being used for horizontal alignment to increase quality across all of our early care and education programs. I did want to mention that for Preschool for All programs that are in school districts, you receive your Circle of Quality rating based upon your Preschool for All monitoring. The ISBE sends a letter out to inform you about your quality rating, and the Illinois Network for Child Care Resource and Referral Agencies then sends a certificate to recognize the Circle of Quality. For Preschool for All programs in child care centers and community-based organizations, you continue to receive Preschool for All monitoring, and I would encourage you to use that process in your continuous quality improvement, but you actually get your Circle of Quality through a rating of the entire center. Teresa also mentioned the work that the Ounce of Prevention Fund is doing in partnership with the McCormick Center for Early Childhood Leadership. It's called Lead, Learn, Excel, and it is about supporting Preschool for All leaders to improve instructional excellence. Through the Early Learning Challenge Grant, the state has invested in support services for all Preschool for All leaders to take a new look at how we support teachers and achieve excellence in the classroom. It will engage instructional leaders using a research-based, proven approach with a variety of strategies over a 12 to 18-month time period. There will be training opportunities for leaders to develop knowledge, obtain intensive and targeted technical assistance, have access to research, evidence-based tools, resources, and job aids, and be given an opportunity to engage in professional learning communities. All supports, thanks to the Early Learning Challenge Grant, are provided at no cost to participants, and travel will be reimbursed. The Lead Learn Excel team is here today, and they have information out at the resource table, and I would encourage you to stop by and talk to them. As Teresa mentioned, gold is good, but it's not the end, and we want all of our programs to continually strive to do better. There are 5 areas for awards of excellence. They are preschool instructional excellence, family and community engagement, linguistically and culturally appropriate practices, inclusion of children with special needs, and infant-toddler care and education. The entities that are providing support for programs to work towards these awards of excellence are also out at the resource tables. Serving children who are most at risk. I want to remind programs that the first priority for Preschool for All programs is serving those children who are determined to be most at risk of academic failure. And that includes really active outreach and recruitment. It's not just waiting for who comes to the door. It's reaching out to those families who may not normally access these services. And if a program has a waiting list, they should be enrolling those children who are most at risk before any other children. The Kindergarten Individual Development Survey is an important tool in our vertical alignment. It is to ensure that children are on track to meeting 3rd grade learning goals. Our educators need baseline data at school entry to identify and address children's gaps in learning as early as possible. Illinois is in the 3rd year of implementing the Kindergarten Individual Development Survey, which is being used in the beginning, middle, and end of the school year so that teachers can track children's progress over time and tailor their instruction accordingly. Illinois will be able to use the kids' data to quantify the school readiness gap and identify individual districts and counties that may need particular support in helping children achieve grade level proficiency. The KIDS process is an observation-based authentic assessment with 3 collection rating periods. This is a time when early childhood educators can assist the kindergarten teachers. Observation-based authentic assessment is something that you are all doing all of the time. There are kindergarten teachers where this is a heavier lift. This has not been the process that they have been using. So I would encourage you in our vertical alignment to be connecting with our kindergarten teachers. It's done within the context of typically occurring activities in the classrooms, and I want to emphasize that it's not a test and it's not used to keep children from entering kindergarten, even though sometimes it is referred to as kindergarten readiness. Another thing that I wanted to mention in the vertical alignment is the change in grade spans for the new teacher license. Early childhood is now birth through 2nd grade. What that does for early childhood is it continues to include birth through age 3. It will now have kindergarten will have to be an early childhood trained staff will be a kindergarten teacher. Current teachers will be grandfathered in, but over the course of time, kindergarten teachers will have to have the early childhood education endorsement. And it also reduces the overlap between early childhood and elementary teachers. It's been cut in half from a 4-year overlap to a 2-year overlap. In the questions, there was a lot of questions about student growth in teacher evaluation and student learning objectives. And although I'm not going to talk about this here, I want to assure you that Angela Chamness, the Division Administrator over Assessment, will be here at, I think it's 2 o'clock, and will be talking to us and sharing information. Because one of the other things that we want in teacher evaluation is to make sure that it is appropriate for those preschool teachers, that we are not asking them or looking at their practice through the eyes of 3rd through 8th grade lenses, that it does look different. And there's work being done to make sure that administrators have the tools they need to look at what is appropriate practice in early childhood. There are always questions about funding, and if it was up to me, I would say here. But it doesn't quite work that way. And all of you know too well that funding has gone down from FY09 at $380 million to $300 million for the last 3 years. The Illinois State Board of Education each year has asked for additional funding for the Early Childhood Block Grant, and with the preschool development grant, the expansion grant, there's also the commitment that Teresa talked about in terms of expanding the Early Childhood Block Grant. All of the grants were competitively bid in FY12 because the funding had been going down and demographics had changed. The commitment at that point is that all programs would continue for 5 years before there was another competitive process. So it will be a competitive process again for FY17. So the request for proposal will be released like in the winter or spring of 2016 to start for FY17. If we get additional funding, our first commitment is to restore the 8% cut to all of the programs because between FY12 and FY13, there was an 8% cut. If we get funding above and beyond that, then there would be a competitive process before FY17 to distribute those funds. I want to talk also about data. If you look at the chart from FY12 and then 13 and then 14, the percentage of children who were identified as being at risk went up and then down below the FY12 level. This is puzzling and concerning. And one thing that I want to do is make sure with all of you that we are getting accurate information. We are pulling data and we'll be sending letters to programs that indicate how many children they propose to serve in their e-grant, how many children are currently enrolled in the SIS system, and what percentage of those, how many children are identified as at risk. It's so important that we have accurate data, both in the SIS system, making sure that all the indicators that apply to a child are in fact marked, and also in our e-grant system. The site information in e-grant gets sent to ICAM, and that is how the geocoding happens in ICAM to show where all of our programs are. So I just can't emphasize enough the importance of the accuracy of data. And I thought I would end on a lighter note than funding and data and share with you, I know occasionally the ISBU website is a little challenging to find what you're looking for. So I pulled out 7 links that are on there to help you really find some of the information that you need. And all of the information from this forum will be posted on the Preschool for All Administrators Forum link. The Preschool for All 3 to 5 has the accountability information that I was talking about in addition to other resources. Early Childhood Professional Development will lead you to both the Early Childhood Professional Development Center and also to StarNet. There is a page with resources for supporting preschool English language learners. There's Early Childhood Special Education, and Pam is going to talk more about that on the panel. There's a preschool homeless education plan, and I will mention that one of our team members, Vicki Hodges, recently left the Early Childhood Division because she is now working full-time on homeless. But she is very invested in the work around preschool homeless and is still a resource for all of you. And we also have a link to the appropriate technology integration in early childhood. Finally, I wanted to just leave our contact information because we want to help you be the best you can because the work you are doing with our children is so important. Thank you.